What's up guys, I'm Cheesy and it was a crisp summer's morning here in Australia and I woke up with a massive surprise that I wasn't expecting. Palworld. Now, I decided to check this game out for myself and see what all the fuss was about, and all I can say is, wow. It has been a long time since I've played a game that has amazed me in the sense that Palworld has. So, before I get into that, let me just quickly say that this isn't a review in any way. You need to straight up buy this game if you're interested in any games such as Ark, Zelda, Elden Ring, and especially Pokemon. This game is a spitting image of every one of those games combined. All praise aside, I really hope this game continues to get supported by the developers and the community because I can already see this game taking over the survival genre. Anyways, without further ado, this is how Palworld changes everything. Now, before I get started, I'm going to compare Palworld to basically every newer survival game we've been given over the last few years, and kind of explain my reasonings as to why I believe this game deserves to have so much more of a chance. So if I comment on any of your favorite survival games, it's not that I dislike them or want to subvert anyone's expectations in any way, I just wanted to list some reasons as to why I would spend more time on some more than others. Anyways, Palworld was released on Steam in early access on the 19th of January, and instantly picked up success as soon as people started to notice that the game could actually run. Essentially, Palworld is an exact replica of what Pokemon should be nowadays, instead of whatever this shit is. I can tell that the developers Pocket Pair, oh hey, they made Craftopia, were very smart to pick apart the best parts of different games and genres to combine them into an ultimate masterpiece that we have here today. Now, I'm gonna try and spoil as little of the game as possible to you guys, as I believe in the new player experience. So I won't go into much detail about the gameplay itself, but let's just say it's very good. Okay, so why am I going on so much about this game? Well, there's a major common theme that I notice in a lot of open world survival games these days, and that's their lack of depth that they trade out for things such as visuals and storytelling. Take Sons of the Forest for example. Similar to Palworld, it released in early access. Now, I haven't played, but the visuals seemed great, the gameplay seemed fine, but there wasn't much to do as far as I saw, which really subverted my expectations to actually buy the game, as I could just see myself getting bored in under 5 hours. Spawn on the beach, do survival stuff for a bunch of hours, come across a few creepy monsters, and then finish the game inside of a cave. Take Elden Ring for example. You could explore the world for 50 hours, and still find a random little cave that holds creatures beyond your comprehension inside. It's the feeling that anything new could be thrown at you as long as you have the will to explore. However, exploration is nothing if the game doesn't have a unique variety of creatures to throw at you whenever deemed necessary. Okay, so that may be a little biased, and I can't completely hammer the nail with a game I haven't played, but a game I have played is Lego Fortnite. Now, I was actually really disappointed with Lego Fortnite, as there wasn't really, well, anything to do at all. There's about 5 different enemies in the game, each of which basically all spawn around you instantly as soon as you spawn in, and once you kill them, you lose the ideology of being frightened by them. Now I'm going to compare this to Ark. Just wandering through Ark's world as a new player, you end up seeing so many different dinos and creatures you never even knew existed, and this is why Ark has thrived for so long, as the developers focus purely on how many unique creatures and animals they can cram into a small island, without it being too overcluttered, which is what I believe Ark nailed in the first place all those years ago, as the new player experience of being terrified of absolutely anything is exactly what a survival game is supposed to do in my eyes. So essentially, a world with depth and variety in just about everywhere you go, in my opinion, is the best route for a survival game to go, and that's why I love Palworld so much. Even though the map is absolutely massive, being able to immediately see about 20 different species straight off the bat is a real eye-opener for me and a lot of other survival game players. Hence why games like Cyberpunk and GTA 6 enticed me so much with the density and variety of the environment. If I'm walking through a jungle in a game and I'm getting attacked by the same wolf over and over and over again, I simply will just get bored. I personally think the creatures in Palworld trump the dinosaurs in Ark. However, visually and gameplay wise, Wildcard did a great job designing all the creatures in their game. However, the formula that Nintendo decided to go with all those years ago of using the different elements to combat against each other is simply genius, and is something I've been waiting for to come to PC for a long time. One thing I do like 100% better in Palworld compared to Ark though is the spheres. which are just Pokeballs. Instead of having to farm narco berries, create narcotics, make trank arrows, make a bow, find a high level dino, trapping the dino, knocking the dino out and waiting 6 hours just for it to be eaten alive by a saber-tooth gets a bit tedious after a while, but I find myself having way more fun taming Pals in Palworld due to the chance-like system you have mostly at the start of the game that almost turns me into a gambling addict every time I see a wacky new creature I've never seen before. It's when you hit a sphere on a Pal that has a 20% chance and then you win that chance that makes it so much more rewarding, while still holding onto that Pokemon trait of damn near beating the thing to a pulp until it's near death enough that you can capture it and slave it forever. One last thing to mention is that I'm actually surprised another game hasn't come around that's similar to this. Sure, there's a lot of games like this, but they lack any sort of personality unlike Palworld, and I honestly just think developers have been so afraid of ever thinking of an idea that even closely resembles anything that Nintendo has created that has all developers on edge. I mean, we did have Pixelmon in Minecraft, but it never really could balance between if it wanted to be a survival game or a survival game, but with also Pokemon that didn't really have an effect on anything. And finally, the best feature of them all, climbing. Yes, I know, wow, climbing. But hear me out. You need a very special type of open world game to correctly achieve a climbing mechanic. Firstly, you need to make sure that it's not too broken and it uses a good enough amount of stamina, and you need to not have areas in which you're not supposed to be in early game, because if you do that wrong, people will get in one way or another. I haven't seen a good climbing system on a PC game since Conan Exiles, and the last time I played that was 5 years ago, and Palworld fits the mechanic perfectly. You see that shiny egg on the rock over there? Looks good, doesn't it? You see that effigy on the side of the cliff? Yeah, I'm gonna climb that. Anyways, I could do a whole video on how climbing should be a feature in nearly every PvE survival game, but that's for another time. But just know that the climbing mechanic is one of my favorites of all time. So yeah. So, overall, I think a lot of developers need to look and see what games like Palworld, Elden Ring, and Ark achieve and try and replicate it more. I see too many games fall for the extra realism or the enhanced ray tracing graphics, when all we really need is a bit of variety in the world. Not only in the map design, but mainly the creatures in the game. If I can immediately spawn in and basically see all the game has to offer in the first 5 hours, I won't find a compelling reason to keep playing, because I know how my experience is going to turn out. In any case, I highly recommend checking this game out if you haven't already. Also, I just wanted to throw this in at the end of the video. There are a lot of new games on the horizon that are set in the survival genre, so if you enjoyed this type of shorter content and you would love to see more, please let me know. I'll also be making a follow-up video on Palworld in the future if this video does well, as at the time of me editing this video, I've clocked in about 30 hours into the game and I'm starting to notice some issues. Anyways, I'm off to go and capture some more pals before Nintendo erases this game from reality.